The hospital lights flickered faintly as midnight shadows crept through the sterile hallways. Machines beeped steadily in room 307, the kind of cold, mechanical rhythm that kept hope alive just a little longer. Inside, a young woman lay unconscious, her face pale but peaceful, as if caught between two worlds. She was the daughter of a powerful millionaire, a man whose wealth could buy almost anything except what he wanted most that night: his child's awakening. Doctors had already given up. "She's not responding," they said. "It's time to accept the outcome." But standing quietly in the corner, with trembling hands clutching a worn-out mop handle, was a man no one noticed. A janitor named Ethan Cole. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, miracles, and second chances, then please like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Because this story will remind you that sometimes, the most extraordinary miracles come from the most ordinary people. Ethan wasn't supposed to be there that night. He was only covering an extra shift because his young son needed medicine, and every extra dollar mattered. Life had never been easy for him. Raising a child alone after losing his wife during childbirth had carved pain deep into his heart. He had learned to smile through exhaustion, to hide heartbreak behind humility. The world saw him as just a janitor, invisible, replaceable, and poor. But his son, Noah, saw him as the strongest man alive. The millionaire, Richard Lawson, stood by his daughter's bedside, anger and despair etched into every line of his face. For weeks, doctors had tried everything: surgeries, experimental drugs, neurological therapies, but nothing worked. His daughter, Emily Lawson, had slipped into a coma after a terrible car accident. And now, after all the medical brilliance and technology, hope had turned into something fragile and fading. Ethan had been cleaning the corridors outside Emily's room for days. He had overheard nurses whispering, seen the father's tears, and felt something stir deep inside him. There was a pain he recognized, the same helplessness he had once felt when his wife had lain in a hospital bed, fading away despite his desperate prayers. That night, when the doctors walked out and Richard yelled in frustration, "There's nothing left to do," Ethan found himself speaking before he could stop. Maybe there's something I can try." The words hung in the air like a spark in the dark. The room fell silent. The millionaire turned sharply toward him, disbelief and fury in his eyes. "Who do you think you are?" he thundered. "You're a janitor, not a doctor." Ethan lowered his gaze, but didn't back down. His voice was steady, humble, but filled with something powerful: faith. "Sir, I know how it sounds. But please, just let me try once. I've seen something like this before." Richard was about to throw him out, but something about Ethan's trembling sincerity made him pause. Desperation has a way of breaking pride. He clenched his fists, glared at the man in the gray uniform, and finally muttered, "You have 5 minutes." Ethan stepped closer to Emily. The machines hummed quietly. Her face looked peaceful, her chest rising gently with each mechanical breath. He took a deep breath and whispered, "You don't know me, but I know what it feels like to lose everything." His voice quivered as memories of his wife flooded back. Her smile, her laughter, her last words. He remembered holding her cold hand and wishing for just one more heartbeat. Ethan gently took Emily's hand. It was cold and still. He closed his eyes and began to speak softly, not like a doctor, but like a father speaking to his child. "You have someone waiting for you. Someone who loves you more than life itself. Don't let go yet. The world still needs your light." His words weren't scientific. They weren't magical. But they came from a place deeper than logic, from love, faith, and the human heart. Richard stood in the background, arms crossed, pretending not to hope. But tears began to well in his eyes as he watched this man, a stranger, pour his soul into saving someone he didn't even know. Minutes passed. The room remained still. Then, suddenly, the machine beeped, once, sharply. Ethan opened his eyes. Her fingers twitched. The doctors had said that wasn't possible. Richard rushed forward, calling for help, but Ethan didn't move. He just kept whispering, "You're safe now, you can come back." Emily's eyes fluttered open weakly. The sound of her soft gasp filled the room. Richard froze. For a second, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. "Emily," he whispered, his voice cracking. She turned her head slowly, her lips trembling. "Dad?" The machines began beeping rapidly. Nurses and doctors flooded the room, stunned by what they saw. Amid the chaos, Ethan quietly stepped back, wiping tears from his eyes. He didn't want credit. He didn't even want thanks. He just wanted to go home to his little boy. But as he turned to leave, Richard called out, "Wait, how did you do that?" Ethan shook his head, smiling faintly. "Sometimes, sir, love wakes people up when medicine can't." The story spread through the hospital like wildfire. Doctors couldn't explain it. They called it a spontaneous recovery, but deep down, everyone knew something extraordinary had happened. Richard, once a man who measured worth in wealth, found himself humbled by someone who had nothing but heart. A few days later, Emily was sitting up, recovering fast. Her first question wasn't about her accident. It was about the man who helped her wake up. When her father told her, she insisted on meeting him. The next morning, Ethan arrived, hesitant and nervous, in his old uniform. Emily smiled weakly and said, "You brought me back." "Thank you." Ethan smiled softly. "You brought yourself back? I just reminded you why." What happened next changed both their lives forever. Richard offered Ethan a new position, not out of pity, but out of respect. He became the hospital's patient care coordinator, helping families through the hardest moments of their lives. His quiet compassion became his greatest gift. But Ethan didn't stop there. He started a small foundation in his late wife's name to help families who couldn't afford hospital bills, funded by the millionaire who once doubted him. In time, Emily and Ethan's son, Noah, became close friends. Emily would often visit the janitor's humble home, where laughter replaced sorrow and faith replaced fear. One evening, she told her father, "Dad, that man taught me something money can't buy, a second chance." Months passed, and life moved forward. But that night in room 307 remained a symbol of hope, a reminder that miracles don't always wear white coats. Sometimes they hold a mop, wear worn-out shoes, and carry broken hearts still strong enough to heal others. And when people asked Ethan how he did it, he always smiled and said, "Sometimes, when you've lost everything, you learn what really matters. And that's what saves others." If this story touched your heart and reminded you that kindness and faith still exist in this world, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories like this one. And before you go, tell us in the comments, do you believe that miracles still happen when love and faith come together? Because sometimes, the smallest acts of belief can wake someone or something we thought was gone forever.